February 26th, 25, a backhoe operator in southern West Virginia is clearing topsoil for a subdivision foundation when his bucket catches something that rings hollow.
Oh, that sound.
He climbs down, brushes off a rusted 55-gallon drum, then another, and then behind the second drum, a work boot, still laced, still somehow attached to a leg.
How long was he down there?
5 years, 4 months, and 12 days. And the county truck he disappeared from was found less than a mile from where that backhoe is parked. Welcome back to the Cold File. I'm Jake Morgan.
And I'm Dr. Christy Hart. Call me Christy. I read the autopsy summary twice, Jake, because I couldn't make sense of the puncture wound until I looked up what a tarp hook actually is.
You came in with ink on your fingers today. You've been marking up that file since before I got the coffee.
Guilty. Let's start with the voicemail, because everything in this case orbits 19 seconds of audio nobody knew how to hear.
So let me set the place first. Broyhill Gap, West Virginia, southern panhandle, tucked up between two ridges, about 8,000 people. The mines closed in the early 2000s, and what's left is trucking, aggregate yards, a shrinking county payroll, fog in the hollows until mid-morning, 2-lane roads that wash out every spring.
Coal adjacent, not coal anymore.
Right. And that matters, because a town like this has a lot of land that nobody's looking at anymore. Parcels that used to be something, parcels that could be something again if a developer picks them up. In between, nothing, just ridges and scrub and old logging cuts.
The kind of place where if you wanted to put something in the ground, you could?
You could, and somebody did. Our missing man is Travis Merrow, 26 years old, junior land surveyor with the Raleigh County Assessor's Office. Grew up in Broyhill Gap, went to the community tech program down in Beckley, came back and got hired on with the county 2 years before he disappeared.
Hometown kid, hometown job.
Hometown kid who, according to every single person on that county crew, could not physically bring himself to fudge a measurement. The running joke was that if Travis drove a pin, he drove it 3 times, because the first 2 weren't good enough.
Oh, I love him already.
Everybody did. Engaged to his girlfriend of 4 years, Chelsea Ruark. They'd been saving for a ring. He was working overtime that fall, specifically for the ring money.
Jake, how long had they been together?
4 years, since he was 22. Met at a diner where Chelsea was waiting tables while she finished her nursing prereqs. By 2019, she was a medical assistant at a family practice in town. Travis was surveying. They had a rental on the east side and a dog, a shepherd mix named Biscuit.
Of course, the dog's named Biscuit.
His mother, Janine Merrow, widowed when Travis was 14. He was her only son. They spoke every couple of days. He'd call from the truck on long drives, tell her about whatever parcel he was on, complain about the weather.
That's the relationship that matters later. The voicemails.
That's the relationship that matters later. Because on October 14th, 2019, Travis called his mother from a ridge above a 50-acre parcel off Hollowback Road. He left her a 19-second voicemail. That voicemail is the last recording of his voice that exists.
Play it.
Here it is. And I want you to listen for one specific phrase because we are going to come back to this recording 3 times in this episode and hear it completely differently each time.
Hey, Mom, it's me. Listen, the ground's kind of springy up here on the upper bench, soft, like it ain't settled. Gonna take me longer than I thought. Don't hold dinner. Love you.
He sounds fine.
He sounds completely fine, a little distracted maybe, tired. It's 2:31 in the afternoon. He'd been on that parcel since about 7:30 in the morning.
And springy ground in surveyor talk, what does that mean on its face?
On its face, drainage, soil saturation, a spot where water's hanging up and the topsoil hasn't consolidated. It's a thing you note because it affects where you can put a building pad. It is the most boring observation a surveyor can make.
Okay, hold that thought. We come back to it.
So here's the timeline of that day. 7:02 in the morning, Travis clocks in at the county office. 7:04, he signs out a Trimble location tablet, a handheld unit surveyors use to log walking tracks and mark waypoints.
And that unit, does it transmit or does it store?
It stores internal memory. You sync it when you get back to the office. So whatever Travis recorded that day, it's sitting on the tablet. 7:30-ish, he arrives at the Hollowback parcel. He drives his county truck up to the trailhead at the bottom of the parcel, parks, and starts walking.
Alone?
Alone. It's a routine boundary survey. One-man job. 2:31 in the afternoon, the voicemail to his mother. 2:47 in the afternoon, his phone pings a tower on the ridge above the parcel. That is the last electronic signal from Travis Merrow that anyone has ever recovered.
And then silence.
And then silence. 6 in the morning the next day, October 15th, Chelsea Ruark calls the Broyhill Gap Sheriff's Office and reports him missing. He never came home. He never called again. Chelsea's 911 intake call is in the file. It's not a dramatic call. She's not hysterical. She is a medical assistant. She is calm. She is specific. And she is absolutely terrified. Listen.
He didn't come home last night. He always comes home. He was on a parcel off Hollowback Road. His truck's still gone. He called his mother yesterday afternoon and nobody's heard from him since. Please, something is wrong.
He always comes home. That's the line.
That's the line. 9 in the morning that same day, Deputy Marlon Fryer drives out to the Hollowback trailhead. And here's where it starts getting strange.
How strange.
The truck is there. Engine off, but the battery's dead, which means the engine had been off for a while, but something had been drawing the battery down. Dome light, radio, something. All of Travis's survey equipment is still in the bed, strapped down. Tripod, stakes, hammer, flagging tape, everything.
Everything except the tablet.
Everything except the tablet. And except Travis.
Jake, Hollowback Road, dead end, you said?
Dead end. One way in, one way out. The parcel's 50 acres, bordered on 3 sides by a state game land. So if you want to get onto that parcel, you either come up Hollowback or you hike in miles across the ridge from a fire road. And here's the thing. Deputy Fryer checks the whole road. No other vehicles, no fresh tire tracks, nothing.
So either he walked out the way he came in, past his own truck,
Oh, which is absurd because the truck was right there.
or he walked over a ridge through state game land in October.
Or somebody else was already on that parcel when he got there and left with him.
That's a really short list of options.
It's a really short list, and it should have shaped the investigation from the jump, but it didn't. Because 2 days later, on October 17th, a volunteer searcher named Ellen Prosser finds a spiral notebook in a culvert half a mile north of the trailhead.
The notebook.
Travis's field notebook, waterlogged but most of it legible. 3 pages torn out at the spine, and when I say torn, I mean ripped, not neatly removed. Somebody was in a hurry.
What survives?
A sketch of the parcel done that morning, property corners, creek line, the boundary he was running, and on the upper bench, the top flat area before the ridge, a rectangular area shaded in pencil with 4 words beside it. Fresh fill, ? Not on plat.
Oh.
Fresh fill, new dirt that shouldn't be there. Not on plat, not on any recorded map.
And the torn pages would have been the ones after that sketch.
Almost certainly. Whatever Travis wrote after he saw that rectangle, whatever measurements, whatever photos he was logging, gone.
Jake, the tablet is missing, the pages are missing, and the body is missing. Somebody took the record.
Somebody took the record. But in October 2019, the Sheriff's Department does not read that notebook as an industrial crime document. They read it as a missing person document.
Because that's what a sheriff's department does in a town of 8,000 people.
Right. They're thinking domestic, love triangle, debt, mental health, the standard checklist, and almost immediately, somebody hands them a candidate. Kyle Petrie, Chelsea Ruark's ex-boyfriend, dated her for about 18 months when she was 19-20. Not a pleasant breakup. In August of 2019, 2 months before Travis disappears, Kyle had been sending Chelsea texts.
Threatening texts?
Escalating texts. Starts with drunk nostalgia, remember when. Moves to resentment. Moves to, and I'm paraphrasing from the file, I hope that square-jawed piece of garbage you're with chokes on a creek.
Oh, Kyle.
Oh, Kyle. Chelsea had shown the text to Travis. Travis had, to his credit, not done anything stupid. He'd suggested she block the number, which she did. And that was the end of it, from their side.
But for investigators, that is a neon arrow.
That is a neon arrow. A guy with motive, a documented threat, a grudge against the missing man's fiancée. In November of 2019, the Sheriff's Department goes hard at Kyle Petrie, pulls his phone records, searches his trailer, leans on his employer until the employer fires him.
Was there anything on him?
Nothing. Kyle's alibi for October 14 is that he was on a roofing job in Princeton, 40 miles away, with 4 other guys on the crew. Time cards, gas station receipt at lunchtime, a supervisor's sworn statement he was on a roof.
So the alibi is solid from the start.
The alibi is solid from the start, and the department spends 4 months trying to break it anyway.
That's the red herring.
That's the red herring. And Christy, I want to give you this because this is your territory. Why does a department lock onto the wrong guy for 4 months when the alibi was solid from day one?
Oh, this is a classic pattern. It's called confirmation anchoring, and it is the single most common way small department investigations go off the rails. Somebody hands you a suspect early, a suspect with a satisfying narrative, a jealous ex, threats on record. The story writes itself.
Too clean.
Way too clean. And once investigators commit to a theory, every piece of evidence gets filtered through that theory. The tarp hook isn't a tarp hook, it's a weapon Kyle might own. The missing pages aren't missing pages, they're pages Kyle might have torn out. Every rock you turn over, you see Kyle's face on the bottom of it. And
Meanwhile, nobody is asking the actual question,
which is,
which is, what was a grading company doing delivering 40 tons of fill 11 separate times to a parcel that had no active construction permit and no client of record?
say that number again?
11 fill deliveries between May and November of 2019 to a parcel that on paper should not have been receiving anything.
And nobody noticed.
Nobody noticed because nobody asked, because everybody was watching Kyle Petrie's trailer.
Okay, who's the grading company?
Kanawha Grading and Fill, family-owned outfit based up toward Charleston with a satellite yard in our county, licensed, bonded, been in business 30 years, regular county contractor, nobody's first pick for a villain.
And the foreman?
The foreman of the satellite yard and the man who personally dispatched most of those hollowback deliveries is a guy named Dale Creasy, 48 years old at the time, Broyhill Gap native. 2 ex-wives, 1 grown daughter, 1 DUI from 2007, known at the yard as, and I'll quote the sworn statement, the guy who could bury anything if you paid him enough.
That is a sentence.
That is a sentence that somebody said about him under oath. In 2019, nobody was saying it out loud.
Hang on, Jake, when did the sheriff's department first look at Kanawha Grading?
They didn't. Not in 2019. Not in 20. Not in 21.
Not once.
Not once. In March of 20, after 4 months of chasing Kyle Petrie, the case officially goes cold. No leads, no body, no movement. Chelsea Ruark is a widow without a husband and without a ring. Janine Merrow is a mother without a son.
What's Janine doing in that period?
Janine is, in the specific language of one of her neighbors, walking the road every Saturday. She goes out to Hollowback. She parks at the trailhead where the truck was. She walks up the old logging cut. She looks. She comes home.
Oh.
For almost 3 years.
Jake, did she ever walk the upper bench?
She walked it. She walked across where he was. She told a reporter in 23 that she thought she'd know that a mother would feel it. She didn't feel it.
Don't. I can't.
I know.
Move me forward. Get me to the letter.
July of 22. The regional office of the Environmental Protection Agency up in Philadelphia receives a letter. 1 page, typed, no signature. Postmark is West Virginia, but from a different county. Whoever sent it drove to mail it.
Smart.
Smart. And the letter is short. It names Kanawha Grading and Fill. It lists 3 specific parcels where the writer claims illegal dumping has been happening. One of those 3 parcels is Hollowback. And the last line of the letter is, I'm going to read it.
Please.
Check what's under the topsoil before somebody builds a house on it. That's all? That's all I've got the nerve to say.
Oh, he's frightened.
He's frightened. Whoever wrote this letter knew enough to name a company, name 3 parcels, and then stopped. Because naming anything more would have named himself.
And the Environmental Protection Agency sits on it for how long?
The Environmental Protection Agency does not sit on it. Exactly. They open a file, they put it in a queue. Anonymous dumping complaints land in that office constantly, and most of them are nothing. They're neighbor disputes, they're unhappy ex-employees. This one goes into a regional backlog, and it takes the Environmental Protection Agency until late 24 to get an inspector out to Hollowback.
2.5 years.
2.5 years. In the meantime, the Hollowback parcel gets bought by a developer out of Roanoke who wants to put in a 14-lot subdivision. Plans get filed, permits get pulled. A backhoe operator shows up on February 26, 25 to clear topsoil for the first foundation.
And there's the bucket, and there's the drum.
And there's the bucket, and there's the drum. The Environmental Protection Agency pulls the permits, halts the subdivision, and starts a full dig. Between February 26th and March 4th of 25, they excavate the upper bench of the parcel. 41 drums come out of the ground.
41.
55-gallon steel drums. 39 of them sealed. 2 of them, the 2 at the very bottom of the pit, not sealed. Wrapped around the 2 unsealed drums, a human body, badly decomposed. Dental records confirm within 72 hours that the remains are Travis Merrow.
What was in the drums?
Trichloroethylene sludge, industrial solvent waste, the byproduct of metal degreasing. It's a regulated substance. You can't just take it to a landfill. You're supposed to pay a reclamation broker to transport it, process it, and document the chain of custody. That process is expensive.
Expensive as in?
Expensive as in, for a mid-sized manufacturer, you're looking at $30,000-$40,000 a year in legitimate solvent disposal. For a big one, six figures. And that's just for paying somebody else to do it right. If you can find somebody who will do it wrong for half the price, cash, no paperwork,
You've got a business.
you've got a very profitable business. And Dale Creasy, according to the indictment unsealed in March of 25, had a business.
Okay, so let's build this out. Dale Creasy is the foreman at the Kanawha Grading Satellite Yard. What's his arrangement?
His arrangement is with a chemical reclamation broker based out of Charleston. I'm not going to name the broker on tape because that case is still working its way through the system, but the structure is this. The broker is contracted by several manufacturers to properly dispose of their solvent waste. He picks up the drums. He does not dispose of them properly. He calls Dale.
And Dale.
Dale puts them in the ground under a layer of clean fill on a parcel he knows, because he's the foreman at a county grading company, is not being actively developed. Hollowback had been undeveloped since the early 2000s. Stable owner, no construction, no inspections.
And the money?
Roughly $200,000 in cash over about 15 months. Off the books. No bank deposits, no paper trail. Dale was paying his truck off, buying toys, spending on his girlfriend, who, by the way, also did not know where the money was coming from.
Jake, $200,000 in 15 months is not a little side thing.
It is not a little side thing. It is a full second job. And it's a full second job that is about to blow up in his face on October 14th, 2019.
Walk me through that morning.
7 in the morning, Travis clocks in. 7:04, he signs out the tablet. 7:30 or so, he's at the Hollowback parcel. He is there to do a boundary survey for a prospective sale. The owner at the time is an older gentleman who has decided to liquidate, and he needs a current boundary to list the property.
Routine.
Completely routine. Travis walks the perimeter in the morning, drives his boundary pins, flags the corners, all standard stuff. After lunch, and he ate lunch in his truck, there was a sandwich wrapper. He starts working up the interior, and the interior of that parcel rises. The lower third is creek bottom. The middle is slope. The upper third is a flat area called the bench, just below the ridgeline.
That's where he calls his mom from.
That's where he calls his mom from. 2:31 in the afternoon. Listen to it again. Now that you know what you know.
Hey, Mom, it's me. Listen, the ground's kind of springy up here on the upper bench, soft, like it ain't settled. Gonna take me longer than I thought. Don't hold dinner. Love you.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no, Jake.
Now I want you to look at this delivery log. Kanawha Grading, Hollowback Parcel, October 10th, 2019, 4 days before Travis walked up there. 40 tons of fill delivered, dumped on the upper bench.
He wasn't describing drainage.
He wasn't describing drainage.
He was describing a fresh grave he didn't know he was standing on.
He was describing a fresh grave he didn't know he was standing on. And in the notebook, he writes, fresh fill, ? Not on plat. Because Travis Merrow could not fudge a measurement, because he noticed things other surveyors wouldn't bother to flag, because there was a rectangle of dirt on that bench that did not belong there, and it was his job to say so.
And somebody was watching him say it.
Somebody was watching him say it. The state's theory, as laid out in the indictment, is this. Dale Creasy was on the ridge above the parcel on October 14th. He had reason to be. He was scoping the next dump site, and he wanted to check that the October 10th delivery had settled properly. He was up there alone in his personal pickup, parked on a fire road on the state game land side of the ridge.
Which explains why Deputy Fryer didn't see another vehicle on Hollowback.
Exactly. Dale didn't come in the way Travis did. He came in from the backside across the ridge. He's parked up there, probably with binoculars. He was a bow hunter. That was plausible cover. And he sees a county truck pull in below. He sees a guy in a vest get out with a tripod.
And his stomach drops.
His stomach drops. Because a surveyor on that parcel, a surveyor anywhere near the upper bench, is every single dollar of his side business, plus prison, plus his daughter's college fund, plus his whole life. He watches Travis work the perimeter, he watches him eat lunch, and then he watches Travis walk up onto the bench.
And kneel down.
Travis kneels, probably to photograph the disturbed earth. That's standard practice when you flag an anomaly on a parcel. He takes out the tablet to mark the waypoint. And while his back is turned, while he's on one knee looking at his screen, Dale Creasy comes down off the ridge behind him.
With a tarp hook.
With a tarp hook, which, for listeners who aren't hauling dirt for a living, is a curved metal hook on a wooden handle, about 2 feet long. You use it to pull the tarp over a dump bed. It's in every grading truck in the country. Dale had one in his personal truck because he'd been using his personal truck that morning.
And the autopsy.
Autopsy finds a 3-inch puncture wound to the left parietal bone, upper left side of the skull, consistent with a curved hook strike from behind and above. Travis never saw it. He was looking at his tablet.
God, okay. What does Dale do next?
He takes the tablet, he tears 3 pages out of the notebook, the pages Travis wrote after the sketch, the pages with the coordinates and the photos logged, and probably the note that says, "Call Environmental Protection Agency." He throws the notebook into a culvert a half-mile north, on the assumption that if it's ever found, it'll look like Travis dropped it walking.
And the body.
The body he drags to the existing dig, because there is an existing dig. The upper bench is where he's been burying drums for 15 months. There's a hole that's been partially refilled. He clears the top layer. He lays Travis in at the bottom. He wraps the body around 2 of the drums.
Wait, wraps the body around the drums?
Wraps, as in lays it curled against them. The 2 bottom drums were unsealed, we said. Dale didn't seal them. He wanted, and this is the prosecution's read, he wanted the solvent to leach. He wanted the body destroyed by the chemistry of the site. He wanted, if anybody ever dug this up, for there to be nothing identifiable left.
That is cold.
That is cold, and that is chemically sophisticated. And it almost worked. The remains were badly decomposed. Dental records got us there, but soft tissue was gone.
Jake, the truck. How did the truck end up back at the trailhead with the equipment still in it?
That's the other piece. Travis's own keys are in Travis's pocket. Dale had Travis's keys. So after he buries the body, he covers the hole, he smooths the fill, and remember, he's a professional grader, this is what his hands do, and then he walks down off the bench, gets in Travis's truck, drives it back to the trailhead, parks it, turns the engine off, and leaves the keys in the ignition. Then walks back up the ridge to his own truck.
Which is why the battery was dead.
Which is why the battery was dead. He left the ignition on accessory position, so the dome light or the radio or something would drain it over the next 18 hours. By the time Deputy Fryer arrived, the truck looked like it had been sitting there since the previous afternoon.
Oh, that's clever.
That's very clever. And it worked. Because when you find a truck with a dead battery, your mind doesn't go to someone drove this truck after the owner was dead and parked it. Your mind goes to the owner walked away from this truck 18 hours ago. Every single investigative assumption in the first week of this case is built on that battery being dead.
Dr. Hart hat on for a second.
Please.
What Dale Creasy does after the killing is not the behavior of a man panicking. It's the behavior of a man doing his job. Because his job is burying things. He has the tools, he has the site, he has the fill, he has the truck tarp hook and the physical strength and the terrain knowledge. And this is what really gets me. He has the operational calm.
He's done this.
He's done this, not the killing, the concealment. He buries things for a living. He knows exactly how much fill it takes to make a disturbance look natural. He knows where the culverts drain. He knows how a truck battery dies. And when he encounters a problem, there is a living witness on my burial site. His brain goes not to how do I escape, but to how do I bury this problem? Because it's the hand he already has in his pocket.
That is a horrifying way to put it.
That is how he did it. And that is why, for 5 years and 4 months, nobody found Travis. Because Dale Creasy was extraordinarily good at one specific professional skill, and he applied it to a murder.
And he kept dumping on that parcel.
Excuse me?
He kept dumping on that parcel. After October 14th, he did 3 more deliveries to Hollaback. October 24th, November 7th, November 21st.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you. He added 12 more drums of solvent to the site on top of Travis.
Why? The heat's on. There's a missing person case. Every reasonable person would stop.
The money was already committed, the broker had product, Dale had agreed to take it, and more importantly, Christy, this is your angle. Stopping would look suspicious. Stopping the Hollaback deliveries right after the surveyor went missing would look like exactly what it was.
Oh, so he keeps gonna look normal.
He keeps going to look normal, and he stops in late November when the broker runs out of product for the season, on schedule, completely natural fade out.
This guy's a profile I'm gonna be thinking about for a long time.
So the case goes cold in March of 20. Dale Creasy keeps working at the grading yard. He gets a small promotion. He moves in with the girlfriend. He's, from the outside, a middle-aged man having an okay year.
And Chelsea?
Chelsea Ruark stays in Broyhill Gap for 2 more years. She still works at the family practice. She still takes Biscuit for walks in the evening. And in the summer of 22, she moves to Huntington to start a nursing program. She told the reporter, quote, "I had to leave or I was going to become my own ghost."
Oh, that's a line.
That's a line. Janine stays. Janine is not leaving, and Janine keeps walking Hollaback Road every Saturday for, by this point, 150 straight Saturdays.
Okay, the letter.
The letter. July of 22. The author of that letter we now know is a man named Randy Creasy, Dale's younger brother. Estranged for about a decade before that summer, They had a falling out over money, a boat, or a trailer or something. I can never keep it straight, and had barely spoken since.
So how does Randy know?
Family cookout. 4th of July, 2019. 3 months before Travis disappears. It's one of those reconciliation attempt cookouts. Cousins are in from out of town. Somebody's getting baptized. The brothers are supposed to bury the hatchet. Dale gets drunk, really drunk. And in the backyard at about 10 in the evening, he starts bragging to Randy
About the money.
about the money, about how much he's making, about what he's burying. Randy will say this in his own sworn statement in 25, Randy thinks Dale is exaggerating. Dale is always exaggerated. Randy doesn't take it seriously.
Until October.
Until October, when a kid goes missing from a parcel off Hollowback Road. And Randy sees the news on the local channel and he remembers that Hollowback was one of the parcels Dale named at the cookout.
Oh my God, he knows.
He thinks he might know. And for 3 years, Randy Creasy sits on that.
Jake, why?
This is the question, right? And Randy, when he's finally interviewed in 25, gives an answer that is, it's the most human answer. He says, that's my brother. And I had a drunk memory, not a fact. And if I was wrong, I'd have blown up his whole life for nothing. And if I was right, he'd know it was me.
He was afraid of his brother.
He was afraid of his brother, and he was afraid of being wrong. And those two fears balanced each other for 3 years.
Until
Randy's mother, Dale and Randy's mother, died in the spring of 22. And at the funeral, Randy watched Dale give a eulogy about being a good son, and something in Randy broke. He drove home, he sat at his kitchen table, he typed the letter, and he drove one county over to mail it.
the anonymous letter that sat in an Environmental Protection Agency queue for 2.5 years.
That sat in a queue.
Was Randy ever going to say it directly to investigators?
He said this, under oath, and I think it's important. He said, if they dig, they'll find what they find. If they don't, I tried, and I'll be able to sleep.
Oh,
He wanted the bare minimum of his conscience off his chest and nothing more, because he was still afraid.
that's a very honest answer from a man who's not proud of himself.
No, he's not.
Okay, so the letter sits. The Environmental Protection Agency gets to it in late 24. What triggers the inspection?
A combination of things. The backlog clears, the inspector assigned pulls the file, and critically, he runs the parcel through the state's development database and sees that Hollowback has an active subdivision permit, which means heavy equipment is about to go in.
So it becomes time sensitive.
It becomes time sensitive. The inspector calls the developer, explains that there's an open complaint on the parcel, and requests that the site be pre-cleared. The developer pushes back, he's on a schedule, he's got financing pressure, and they reach a compromise, which is that the backhoe operator goes in first, does the topsoil strip, and the Environmental Protection Agency observes.
Which is how a man with a bucket finds a boot.
Which is how a man with a bucket finds a boot.
Jake, I want to hear how this hit the news.
Local news picks it up the morning after. Here's the anchor on the Charleston station, the evening of February 27th, 25.
An excavation at a planned subdivision off Hollowback Road in Broyhill Gap has uncovered dozens of buried drums of what officials are describing as industrial solvent waste, as well as human remains. The Raleigh County Sheriff's Office confirmed this evening that the remains are believed to be those of Travis Merrow, a county surveyor who vanished from that same parcel in October of 2019.
5 years and 4 months.
5 years and 4 months. And the Sheriff's Department, to their enormous credit, does not drag their feet on the follow-through. They have, by February 28th, already subpoenaed Kanawha Grading's delivery logs. They have, by March 1st, identified Dale Creasy as the dispatching foreman on all 11 Hollowback deliveries. They have, by March 3rd, a search warrant for his home, his personal vehicle, and his work locker.
And the work locker?
And the work locker is where they find the tarp hook.
Oh,
The inside of the curve, stained dark, the wooden handle worn smooth. Forensics matches organic residue on the hook, I'm going to be delicate here, to biological material recovered from the excavation site. The geometry of the hook matches the wound on Travis's skull. It's not a probable match, it is a specific match.
Jake, had this hook just been sitting in his locker for 5 years?
It had been sitting in his locker for 5 years. Because, and this was one of my questions too, why would a man keep the weapon? And the answer is, because it wasn't a weapon. In Dale Creasy's head, it was a tarp hook. It was a tool he used every day. You don't destroy a tool because you used it one time for something else, you put it back on the peg, you use it the next day, you keep using it.
That is the single most chilling detail in this whole case.
It is, because a stranger killer hides the weapon. A premeditated killer destroys the weapon. A man who kills someone to protect his business, a practical murder, a logistical murder, hangs the weapon back up at the end of his shift because tomorrow he has to pull a tarp over a dump bed.
Oh, that is Dr. Heartbrain. That is a pattern I've seen once before in a workplace-motivated homicide. It's not the crime of passion guy, it's the embezzler who kills the auditor, the guy who kills to preserve an ongoing scheme. Their psychology is transactional, not emotional.
And that tracks for Dale all the way down. The arrest, the interview, the confession, none of it is remorseful. It is logistical.
Did he confess?
He confessed. March 9th, 25. After 16 hours over 2 days with a very patient state investigator named Lieutenant Megan Tolliver, I've listened to the full audio. I'll play a slice of it. This is Dale Creasy explaining in his own words why he did what he did.
He wasn't supposed to be up there. Nobody was supposed to be up there. I had 140 grand coming in the next 12 months. I had a daughter. What was I going to do? Let some kid with a clipboard end everything I had? I made a decision. You don't like the decision, fine. But it was a decision.
Some kid with a clipboard.
Some kid with a clipboard.
That's Travis Merrow.
That's Travis Merrow. That is the sum total of what Dale Creasy thought of him.
I can't.
I know.
That's the part that's hardest for me as a profiler. There's no grand pathology here. There's no deep-seated rage. There's an accountant's calculation. The kid represented a number, and the number was inconvenient, and he erased the number.
And that is statistically the most common kind of murder nobody thinks about.
Because we want our killers to be monsters. And monsters as a category are rarer than ledgers.
Monsters are rarer than ledgers. I'm writing that one down.
Jake, I want to spend a little time on the families, because there are 3 of them here.
There are Janine Merrow, Chelsea Ruark, and Randy Creasy.
Start with Janine.
Janine Merrow held a press conference on March 11th, 25, 2 days after Dale's confession. She didn't take questions. She read a statement. And this is the part I'm going to play.
My son called me from a ridge on a Monday afternoon and told me the ground was soft. I thought he was talking about drainage. For 5 years, I thought he was talking about drainage. He was standing on top of himself, and he didn't know it. Nobody should have to know that about their child. I am asking, please, that nobody ever pave over that bench. That is where my son was. That is where he should be remembered.
Oh, God.
He was standing on top of himself, and he didn't know it.
I have to take a breath.
Take a breath. The developer, to his credit, has since withdrawn the subdivision plans. The parcel is being purchased by the county with state funds for environmental remediation. Janine Merrow and a coalition of local residents are petitioning for a portion of the upper bench to be designated a permanent marker site.
So she got that. She got that.
And Chelsea?
Chelsea finished her nursing program in 23. She's working in Huntington.
She gave one interview in May of 25, and the only thing she said publicly was, and I'll quote, "I spent 4 years hating Kyle Petrie for something he didn't do. I don't know how to give that back to him."
Oh, Kyle.
Kyle Petrie lost his job in 2019 because of the investigation. He moved out of state. He has, by all accounts, rebuilt reasonably. The county settled a civil suit with him for an undisclosed amount in 24.
Before the real killer was even identified.
Before the real killer was even identified, which tells you that even the county knew by then they'd burned a man.
And Randy?
Randy Creasy was granted immunity in exchange for his testimony against Dale. He was never charged. He has, as far as anyone will say, not spoken to his brother since the arrest.
Does Randy ever say anything publicly about the 3-year gap?
Once, to a reporter from the Charleston paper. Quietly on a porch, not for attribution, but the reporter paraphrased it. Randy said something like, "I should have picked up the phone the day the kid went missing. I didn't. I'll carry that."
He'll carry that.
He'll carry that.
Okay, Dr. Hart hat back on for a minute because I want to talk about the systemic failures here. Because this case, Jake, this case is a clinic in institutional failure.
Lay it out.
Okay. Failure 1. The sheriff's department, day 1, commits to a suspect based on a threat text. And for 4 months, every investigator on this file is looking at Kyle Petrie. Nobody asks why a grading company is delivering fill to a parcel with no construction permit. That's a public record. That's a county clerk walk-in.
One afternoon at the county clerk's office would have cracked it.
One afternoon. Failure 2. The notebook. Travis writes, "Fresh fill, ? Not on plat." The sheriff's office photographs the page, logs it into evidence, and nobody asks what fresh fill on an undeveloped parcel would mean. They read it as a geology note and move on.
Because they're not looking at the parcel, they're looking at the fiance's ex.
They're looking at the fiance's ex. Failure 3. The Environmental Protection Agency backlog. 2.5 years on a letter that specifically names a parcel that is publicly known to have an open missing persons case.
That's the one that kills me.
That's the one, because if that letter had been triaged against open law enforcement files, if somebody in that office had typed Hollowback into a search,
They would have gotten a hit on the Merrow case.
they would have gotten a hit, and the dig happens in 22 instead of 25, and Janine Merrow spends 2.5 fewer Saturdays on that road.
Jake, I should say, because listeners will ask, is there any indication the Environmental Protection Agency is changing its procedures?
There is a pending review. There are proposed rule changes about cross-referencing anonymous tips against state law enforcement databases. Whether those pass, I don't know.
Failure 4, and this is the one I keep coming back to, the tablet.
It's a Trimble.
The Trimble that Travis signed out at 7:04 in the morning, it was never recovered. Dale took it with him, and he clearly disposed of it. It's never turned up at his home, in the yard, anywhere, probably at the bottom of a lake, probably smashed with a hammer. The point is this. That tablet had his walking track on it. It knew exactly where Travis stood when he realized what he was looking at.
The device that could have solved it in 2019.
The device that could have solved it in 2019. Because a walking track that ends at a rectangle of fresh fill on an upper bench, a sheriff's detective looking at that map would have had one question. What's buried there?
And the answer is everything.
And the answer is everything.
Tell me about sentencing.
Dale Creasy is, as of our recording, awaiting sentencing on a plea deal. Second-degree murder, illegal disposal of hazardous waste, obstruction, evidence tampering. Prosecutors were prepared to go for first degree. The plea takes that off the table in exchange for full cooperation on the broker's case. He will not see the outside again.
Life.
Effective life, yes. The broker out of Charleston, federal case, wire fraud, environmental charges, conspiracy, that's still working.
And the drums.
The drums are at a licensed reclamation facility. The parcel is being excavated down to bedrock and restored. The county will hold it in perpetuity.
The subdivision.
The subdivision is dead.
Good.
Christy, before we wrap, I want to come back to the voicemail because we've listened to it twice.
Third time.
Third time. And I want us to hear it differently this time. The first time, it was a surveyor's observation. The second time, it was the worst piece of dramatic irony in the case he was describing his own grave. The third time, I want us to hear what it actually is.
Which is?
Which is a guy calling his mother on a Monday afternoon to tell her he's going to be late for dinner. Nothing more than that. Listen.
Hey, Mom, it's me. Listen, the ground's kind of springy up here on the upper bench, soft, like it ain't settled. Gonna take me longer than I thought. Don't hold dinner. Love you.
19 seconds.
19 seconds. He's 26 years old. He's saving for a ring. He's on a ridge in the county he grew up in, doing a job he was really good at. He's got a shepherd mix named Biscuit waiting at home. He's going to be late for dinner.
And he doesn't come home?
And he doesn't come home. And it takes 5 years, 4 months, and 12 days before his mother knows where he is.
Jake, the thing that breaks me about this case is that there's nothing mysterious about it. It isn't a haunted house. It isn't an unknowable motive. It is a man with a second job who did the math and decided a 26-year-old was cheaper dead than alive. And the reason he got away with it for 5 years is that nobody asked who was delivering dirt to an empty parcel.
Monsters are rarer than ledgers.
Monsters are rarer than ledgers.
There is one more thing I want to name before we sign off because I think it's important. You mentioned earlier off the top that you reread the autopsy, something you caught that I want to make sure the audience has.
Oh, the parietal wound.
The parietal wound.
It was a single strike, one. A curved 3-inch puncture, left parietal, rear to front angle, which means Travis was standing or kneeling, facing away, and Dale Creasy struck him once from behind, and it was enough.
Travis didn't know.
He didn't know. And I want to say that out loud because Janine Merrow will hear this episode at some point. Somebody will send it to her. And she has spent 5 years imagining what her son knew and how long he had to know it. And the answer, as nearly as forensics can tell us, is that he was looking at his tablet and then he was not looking at anything.
Thank you for saying that on the record.
It matters.
Anything else before we close the file?
One thing, the red herring, Kyle Petrie. I want every listener who has ever said a cruel thing on the internet about a suspect, any suspect, to sit with the fact that a man lost his job, his reputation, and part of his life because investigators had a neat story and stuck to it. Kyle was nasty in a text message. He was also innocent of murder. Those are two different things. Don't let anyone tell you they're the same.
Good note.
Travis Merrow called his mother to say he'd be late for dinner, and he meant it.
Case is closed. Dale Creasy will die inside, and the upper bench of the hollowback parcel will, please God, get a stone with a name on it.
Next week, we're opening a file out of the Gulf Coast that I have been reading with my coffee going cold for 3 mornings, and I would love for you to come back for it. Hit follow so it lands in your feed when it drops. Until then, be good to the people who check in on you because somebody out there is waiting to hear from you at dinner time.